Hello everybody, thank you for joining me back in another Chart Nerd update, and today we will be discussing VELO and its ties to PromptPay. Now there's some very important information that I wanted to link together today that connects VELO to PromptPay to Singapore to Laos and generally the whole ASEAN region in regards to payments, so we will tap into that a little later into the video. At the start I will dig into some nibbly nooks and cranny bits in regards to some potential in the future expansion plans for the VELO merchant network and how we could be tapping into some digital stores in Thailand. So nothing that I say is financial advice. Let's dive into the content. So the first piece of information that I gently wanted to tap on this morning was about Lotus and how they introduced Thailand's first unmanned smart store with True Digital. So just keep in mind Lotus and keep in mind True Digital in Thailand, okay? So this is relatively old news. Do forgive me. I thought when I posted this was something new that had come out, but scanning through the dates, this is from back in 2023. So this has been an ongoing development for Lotus. So Lotus, a little bit more about them, okay? Lotus had opened Thailand's first unmanned smart store. Lotus was Tesco's Asian operations in Thailand, but was acquired by CP Group in 2021 for 10.6 billion. Correction, it's not baht, it was dollars. And these new unmanned stores required TrueMoney wallet for spending via True Digital. Okay, so CP Group rebranded Southeast Asian Tesco stores into Lotus, which are unmanned smart stores. Very similar to how you have Amazon stores in London here, where you can go in and pay for everything digitally, basically. Okay, so this is a digital unmanned smart store that is operated and owned by CP Group, and I think that this may have some ties in the near future, again albeit speculative, with VELO's OmniPoints expanding merchant network. So you can the shoppers here can select from more than 400 products including drinks, snacks and everyday essentials. To shop at the unmanned smart store, they must have a TrueMoney wallet application and a minimum balance of 200 baht. So think about TrueMoney wallet application and why this may be important towards VELO and specifically Lightnet. First off, shout out to Mula who actually pointed this article out to me. But if we come down here and look at a post from Luke and why TrueMoney, again, TrueMoney is very important and again is the wallet that's required to spend in Lotus's stores owned by CP Group. Well, TrueMoney, do they count as a CP Group vendor or partner? In my opinion, they support as both. So what you'll see here is that TrueMoney has a vast network and is a fintech conglomerate in Southeast Asia, which is a joint venture between CP Group and Ant Financial, which is Alibaba. They have the largest network, agent network with over 88,000 agents in Southeast Asia, seamlessly enabling remittance, lending, and large payment volumes. Now, okay, that's a little bit about them, but if you look at Lightnet's strategic partners, you will see that you've got CP Group and you've got TrueMoney down here. So does this or could this sort of reiterate back into VELO to OmniPoints and the merchant networks, where we could see further expansion in the near future into these Lotus stores, which are owned by CP Group from a takeover back in 2021. So some very speculative ties here, but it does tie back to Lightnet strategic partners, to the TrueMoney and CP Group. CP Group own Lotus's stores. CP Group, as you know, are a key investor into VELO, and we have Mr. Chachaval as VELO's co-chairman, who is a member of the CP Group family. So this has direct ties to Lightnet and to VELO and could be a potential infrastructure implementation into Orbit's OmniPoints in the near future, something to keep our eyes on. So that's that. Now, tapping onto the next piece of information, I wanted to first come over to Savile Row, who has nailed everything to a T here, guys. Okay, and this individual, I believe, was around at a crucial time amongst the VELO sort of development, and he was dotting together things very, very nicely. So what he said here is VELO equals PromptPay, which equals QR codes, which equals the ASEAN rails and Euro rails to go around the US dollar. Know what you hold. So what he's suggesting here, is he suggesting that VELO is PromptPay, which equals the QR codes that ties into these, or is VELO at the base of the PromptPay sort of technology here? So I wanted to do a little bit further digging into some of the ties from PromptPay, and what I came over to was about a linkage between a PayNow system, which is a Singapore payment system, and the PromptPay system of Thailand. Okay, so what is the PromptPay PayNow project? PPPN for short. So it's a linkage that provides a convenient 24/7 fast, near real-time, secure and cost-effective means of cross-border funds transfers between Singapore and Thailand bank customers. In essence, Singapore's PayNow and Thailand's PromptPay users will be able to send money instantly and securely across the two countries with their mobile phone numbers that have been registered with PayNow and PromptPay. So mobile phone numbers, QR codes, PayNow and PromptPay. This is a linkage between Singapore payment networks and Thailand payment networks. Okay, and some of the banks that are enabled in this linkage, or the participating banks, include SCB, which we already know is a LightNet partner for the CBDC project with the Bank of Thailand. So this is something that's relatively huge, and I decided to do a bit more further digging into the PayNow PromptPay PayNow linkage white paper. Okay, a playbook for ASEAN and the world, a real-time cross-border funds transfer service linking retail customers in Singapore and Thailand, all via PromptPay and PayNow. So a little bit more about this over here. You can see that some of the banks, again here, that have ties to VELO is United Overseas Banks. And we also, in Thailand, have the National ITMX, and again, SCB that's popped up at the bottom here. All ties to LightNet, which result back to VELO. Okay, now ITMX we'll get into very shortly. You've got, as I said, SCB and United Overseas Banks, who are investors and partners of both VELO and LightNet. Okay, now we'll have a little bit of a look at a couple, if my computer wants to play with me here. So in the foreword, it says, we are pleased to present this white paper on the project to link Singapore's PayNow and Thailand's PromptPay fast payment system. So this is an FPS system. The white paper outlines how this first of its kind linkage was conceived and developed by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS, and the Bank of Thailand. Working closely with industry partners in both countries, the linkage of PayNow and PromptPay, the PPPN for short linkage, represents a first step towards a broader vision of unlocking multilateral connectivity of countries' fast payment systems. This will establish a comprehensive cross-border transfer network that can enable customers in participating countries to make fast and secure cross-border transfers via their mobile phones or internet devices. Again, linking back to QR codes and what was said here from PromptPay, QR codes, ASEAN rails. Okay, so we've got the payment, the PayNow PromptPay connected via the Bank of Thailand between Authority of Singapore, the MAS, and yeah, it's an absolutely, I think this is a crucial project to keep us connected to those Asian rails. Okay, now how does PromptPay and Thailand, what could this mean in regards to the development of this process, and how, again, could PromptPay be what Savile Row suggests here? Is VELO PromptPay, or is VELO at the heart of the PromptPay ecosystem, and how could that be? Well, if I come over to this post here, again, remember that I wanted you to focus on NITMX as well, or ITMX, should I say. Okay, let's not forget those for a second. In fact, let's have a little quick overview before I get into my next post about ITMX. So, ITMX system is the Interbank Transaction Management and Exchange, which is interbank retail funds transfer systems operated by the National Interbank Transaction Management and Exchange Co. NITMX for the oversight of PERP's 14 principles of the PFMI are applied. But they are basically a management and exchange company in Thailand, and they are huge. Okay, and this is on the Bank of Thailand's website underneath the oversight of payment system. So again, coming back to this post here where we discuss NITMX and why they play such an important role here. So it says here, the diagram below outlines the settlement process for transfers from Thailand to Singapore and vice versa. So looking at the first image, you can see from Thailand's side, you've got the PayNow and ITMX ecosystem, okay, and they go into the settlement report back to the settlement bank to make the payment to receiving banks based on settlement reports in Singapore. Now this sort of diagram and relationship is what's the word? It works back and forward. So if you was to literally switch it over from Singapore to Thailand, Thailand to Singapore is how it would operate. But you've got PromptPay here after the remitter, the sending bank, the screening for AMLs and stuff like that. You've got the payment instruction, which leads to PromptPay and IMX. Now, why is this important? Well, if we have a look about NITMX and what they are and what they deliver with, they have 33 member banks and the ability to deliver consistent and efficient services to banking industries for more than 10 years. NITMX is responsible for developing the PromptPay system, a new retail payment infrastructure under the National E-Payment Master Plan, pushing forward for a cashless society. So the ITMX, again, which was highlighted here by the oversight of payment systems on the Bank of Thailand's network, they created the infrastructure for PromptPay, and they were appointed to be the APN hub. APN Hub will be a platform for payment cross-border transactions within the Asia Pacific and other regional networks. So the APN is the Asian Payment Network, just to summarize there, guys. So this is a huge payment network that was created. PromptPay was created by the NITMX. Now this is huge. Why is that huge? Because if we come over to this post here about LightNet, the partnership also makes transfers accessible to all Thai banks and anyone who has signed up for PromptPay. This integration with PromptPay extends the LightNet Group's reach further in line with its mission of making banking more inclusive and enabling participation for the underbanked and unbanked. So ITMX have direct ties to the oversight of payment systems. ITMX created the PromptPay infrastructure, and LightNet integrated with the PromptPay infrastructure to extend its reach. So LightNet has already integrated into PromptPay, which has an oversight of the payment systems from the ITMX. Again, if we come back to where was I when I was analyzing it? I do apologize. Here we go. So it's the Interbank Transaction Management and Exchange. Okay, and this is through the Bank of Thailand. So we have direct ties to LightNet, to PromptPay. Is this resulting back to some of the information that we was talking about from Savile Row to VELO to PromptPay to QR codes, right? Because this payment system, PPPN, will be using such mobiles and QR codes to facilitate these transactions between PromptPay and PayNow in the ecosystem between Thailand and Singapore. So is VELO the underlying tech here as PromptPay, because LightNet has the infrastructural integration with PromptPay? And again, you've got the ITMX here. So there's a lot to sort of dot together here. And again, it is all speculative, guys. Nothing that I say is financial advice. And just a little bit more about how ITMX was appointed to be an APN hub, which is an Asian Payment Network hub. If we have a little look about APN hub is the platform for cross-border transactions within the Asian Payment Network. This is aligned with the WCPSS direction towards an Asian integration card transacted in the region. Currently, APN hub is operated by NITMX of Thailand to support cross-border ATM service and cross-border fund transfers, as well as further developments for its members. So Thailand, the Bank of Thailand, LightNet, PromptPay, VELO, all amongst these ties. Now, if we come over to my next post here, again relating to VELO, to PromptPay, to PayNow, to Singapore, distributed ledger technology is one of the highlights, and smart contracts. We already know that VELO facilitates smart contracts. There are direct ties on this fact sheet, which I will show you in a second, to SCB and UOB. SCB is a partner with LightNet for the the CBDC project with the Bank of Thailand and the Sandbox, and UOB is an investor of VELO. So there's again more direct ties, innovation for cross-border payments, Asian Rails, sounds like VELO to me. Again, this was highlighted by Mula down here, who has some exquisite information about VELO. Do give him a follow, and I will link him in the comments below. But here it says both Singapore and Thailand are looking to add international partners to their payment systems and extend their payment limits upwards to allow larger business to operate. The PromptPay PayNow link, which we've been studying for the past 10-15 minutes, also offers the opportunity to use distributed ledger technology and smart contract technologies in retail cross-border payments in the future. The Bank of Thailand will continue to promote innovation in cross-border payments and infrastructure. Now, if we come over to the fact sheet here for cross-border electronic funds transfers between Singapore and Thailand, again, the PayNow PromptPay linkage, this is a fact sheet. And again, you can just see here that the Singapore participating banks include UOB, and the Thailand participating banks include Krung Thai and SCB, which we have direct ties to, again, through VELO and LightNet. So there's a lot of information, a lot is going on here. And again, it's very speculative, but the ties to Lightnet to PromptPay just result back to VELO as the blockchain-based ecosystem infrastructure. Now, how could this tie in to Thailand and Laos? So we recently heard some new information in regards to Thailand and their developments with Laos. So Thailand is developing a financial hub to host 8 key financial sectors. Laos, sharing a 1,810 kilometer border with Thailand, is an important partner in this initiative. The creation of Thailand's financial hub, does this relate back to the Asian payment network we were just studying? Maybe so. Will play a significant role in delivering financial services from institutions to Laos, which has expressed support for the project. Now, so we've got a payment system, a cross-border payment QR system. Sound familiar? We was just studying the PayNow PromptPay ecosystem between Singapore and Thailand for QR codes. Now we've come to Laos. So I think there's some direct ties here between the PromptPay PayNow linkage between Thailand and Singapore, and then coming over to Laos and the development here. Why do I think so? Because again, look who pops up. The International Monetary Exchange, I believe it was. Don't quote me on that again. But the ITMX that we've been studying is represented here between cross-border payment services between Thailand and Laos, which is a switch-to-switch format via the National Interbank Transaction Management and Exchange. There you go. It was right there in front of me. So we had the PayNow and PromptPay ties to the ITMX, which is the oversight of payment systems. Again, coming back down here with the Bank of Thailand and the ITMX. Okay, it's all connected to the Bank of Thailand. So coming back over to this here, you've got the ITMX, the Bank of Thailand. You've got PromptPay, PayNow, Singapore, Thailand, Laos, the Asian rails. Okay, so the ITMX system in Thailand and the Lao National Payment Network, the LAPnet, in Laos enhances financial infrastructure connecting the two countries more effectively. Both sides discuss efforts to expand and improve the system, with Thailand committed to advancing QR payment systems and building a cohesive regional ecosystem. So my thoughts are here. You've got Thailand and Laos, which are connected via the ITMX and LAPnet rails. ITMX is connected to the Singapore PPPN, PromptPay PayNow. So does this integrate the PPPN and the LAPnet with QR code interoperability with Thailand and Laos? So what I'm again overall trying to say here is there are connections between the ITMX, the PromptPay PayNow ecosystem between Thailand and Singapore, and then linking back to this system is Thailand and Laos, who are also pushing with the ITMX for cross-border QR code transactions. Now it says here that the Bank of Thailand said in April 2024 the first phase of users from Laos will be able to scan Thai PromptPay QR codes. So PromptPay links to Laos through Singapore. PromptPay is the baseline infrastructure to interconnect all of these QR code payments infrastructure systems here on Thailand's side. PromptPay integrated with PromptPay infrastructure. So this has direct ties back to Lightnet across Laos and Singapore and Thailand. Using QR codes displayed by merchants, again in Thailand using mobile banking, which kind of ties back to Lotus, again with merchants, right? This is in Thailand specifically. And the second phase began in June 2024, enabling users to scan Lao QR codes displayed by merchants in Laos by using mobile banking applications provided by participating commercial banks. So again, that brings to light SCB, UOB, all these banks that are directly tied to Lightnet and VELO. And last but not least, again here on a screenshot, the Bank of Thailand on their website as well is the joint press release launch of the cross-border QR payment linkage between Thailand and the Lao PDR. So this is where PromptPay is also facilitating as a base infrastructure between these cross-border payments. Now, if I come over to the Bank of Thailand's website about the linkage, okay, so this linkage keeps popping up because we also had the linkage, here we go, where are we? This is the linkage between PromptPay, here we go, PayNow and PromptPay linkage. So we've got a lot of linkages here, okay, between Thailand and other Asian regions and countries that have direct ties to VELO and Lightnet. So the Bank of Thailand and the Bank of Lao, the PDR, announced the launch of cross-border QR payment linkage between Thailand and the Lao PDR today in April at the sidelines of the 11th ASEAN Finance Ministers and Central Bank Governors meeting. The cross-border QR payment linkage will facilitate economic activities between Thailand and Laos, particularly those related to the tourism sector. As close neighbors, both countries enjoy significant bilateral tourism, with the number of Thai and Lao tourists traveling between countries reaching 2 million in 2023. So there's a lot of focus here on the cross-border developments for tourism, and I've seen a hell of a lot of tourism in Thailand. I've been there myself, and it's full of tourists. If there could be some sort of cross-border QR payment linkage here that makes funds more secure, more reliable, more efficient, and cheaper for the tourism industry, this will just boost the economy. And this is where I believe that, again, with PromptPay and with LightNet, we do have direct ties here. And that results back to, again, Savile Rose is saying, is VELO connected to PromptPay, connected to the QR code, which links to the ASEAN rails? So I think he's been nailed on the head so far. Okay, so you can also go over to the Bank of Thailand's website and have a look at these links for yourself. Now, who is LAPnet? Which, if we come back to my post, come off here quickly, LAPnet and ITMX ties, right? Okay, so you've got the Laos payment net and the ITMX of Thailand. And how does that all interconnect? Well, the LAPnet is a joint venture of the Bank of Laos and 7 major Lao banks, designed to create a more efficient and integrated digital payment system. So it's all interconnected here, guys. It's all interconnected. So that was just the sort of ties that I wanted to put together today based on Savile Rose information and him not being wrong thus far. Where VELO connects to PromptPay and PromptPay LightNet, integrated into the PromptPay infrastructure. PromptPay is the base tech between the linkage of Singapore. The linkage of Thailand to Singapore, to Laos and other ASEAN rails. And this is going to be aimed by using mobile phone users and QR codes for CBDC transactions and retail transactions, which will then hopefully bypass the US dollars and know what you hold. So that was my overall explanation and linkage there between PromptPay, LightNet to the ASEAN rails, which all links back to VELO. So nothing that I say is financial advice in this video, guys. Okay, so lastly, I'm going to tap onto the price action today for VELO very quickly. I'm going to come over to this post on X here, which discussed the VELO daily time frame. Now, I posted this, I think, this was from the 15th of March relating to this post, so a couple of days ago. And back on the 15th, I said that VELO is running into its daily 20 EMA, and it must break this level of resistance, which was at 0.014. I updated a post a day later, and you can see that VELO had run into that EMA and was starting to pull back, and I was suggesting that a higher low here is possible if we continue to hit our heads on this EMA here, okay, the 20 EMA on the daily time frame. So I'm kind of expecting this higher low to play out unless we come into a situation where we actually break this daily 20 EMA and push up to higher targets, which I think were between 0.018 and 2. So if we can close above this daily 20 EMA, which I'll show you in a second, we could be pushing up to 0.018/2. Failing that, if we keep hitting our heads on it, I would expect a higher low back down to the 0.011/12 area. So coming over to the VELO chart here, as you can see, highlighting from that post here, just a bit of a zoomed out perspective, this daily 20 EMA has been retested, and VELO is, or should I say was up a current, where's my measurement? We'll just go over here. From these lows, VELO had a lovely rally of around 42% into this daily 20 EMA. But if we focus on this daily 20 EMA here, you'll see for this whole cluster, VELO struggled to break above it for multiple weeks. Okay, and then we got this push down from the EMA, and now we've seen this rally back up into the EMA once more. So this is a vital level of resistance that VELO needs to reclaim. Once this EMA is tackled, the next objective for me is getting to this daily 55 EMA, which we haven't actually backtested since the downtrend started on the 16th of January. So this price sits at 0.0177. Now, of course, these moving averages are going to decline and continue to either curl over or come down over time. They are moving averages, so it's relatively hard to pinpoint where that retest could be. But all I know is once VELO does reclaim this daily 20 EMA, the daily 55 is the next target, and then we have higher targets above that I will show you in a second that we need to break above in order to see bullish control and momentum and to confirm this local low. So right now the 20 EMA is our enemy, let's put it so to speak. When you're underneath, we created the death cross, when you're underneath these EMAs and hitting your heads on them, this is a downtrend. So VELO is technically still in a downtrend until it can break back above these EMAs here. Again, once you see here, we had a bullish cross. Okay, we got back above the EMAs. When you're above the EMAs, this is an uptrend. When you're below your EMAs and creating death crosses and hitting your heads on them, this is a downtrend. So the downtrend is still in play, and the trend is our friend until the end. This is great to see a 40% 50% pump here. And if we do start tackling this 20, just look for the 55 EMA as a next potential target, especially if we get those closes above. If we close above the 20 multiple days, I expect to push up to at least this 55 as it begins to start trying to curl over. So do keep your eyes on these EMAs, get them on your charts, go to indicators, type in exponential, and it will come up with moving average exponential, and then you can click on the settings up here to tap it to what EMA you want. You want 20 and you want 55. Some people use the 50, but I use the 55 just for preference. So right now, my opinion is if we fail to break this 20 EMA and we are trying to, if we will pull back to a higher low, my higher low targets initially set here, if we come back in some sort of correction for a higher low, between 0.012 and 11. These are the golden ratio levels of support and the key fib zones that we want to monitor on any sort of given pullback. So if we do fail to break above this 20 over the next few days, coming towards the end of March, this is potentially where we could build this sort of bottom foundation, because you've got a low. If we can come back and build a higher low, we're initially building higher low structure and trying to build some sort of base here to take us out of the woods. Okay, we don't necessarily, as I've said, this is a 40% move we've seen, which is really, really nice to see. But if we just bolt out up here, we're going to come back and down and crash just as fast. We want to build a structural foundational bottom above this 0.010 low, and initially just sort of even crabbing sideways for a couple of weeks and letting some of the indicators on the lower time frames reset, I think would be a bullish sign. So in my opinion, right now, I am in favor of pulling back to a higher low and then going for the break and attempting somewhere towards the end of March. Now, there is a potential that we do come back down here to a level of support if this low is not in. Okay, if this wick low to 0.010, which is a retest of the November 2024 low, if this low is not in, then potentially what you've got, or what we could see, is a wick retest back down to this trend line. Okay, so we haven't actually come back down to this multi-month trend line that's been support since December of 2022. We haven't actually come back down to that for a wick retest. Now, initially you could say if we come up to the candle closes here, we're still not around that sort of retest level. So 0.007/6 still sticks out like a bit of a sore thumb to me. And if Bitcoin hasn't marked its local lows and we do see quantitative tightening resume and the Fed don't cut rates on the 19th of March, then this is where we could see Bitcoin come down, which would drag VELO down a little bit further to a low. Okay, now I've said many times that I think this is potentially potentially a sort of ABC, flat running ABC back down to macro support before then getting the breakout. Okay, so this is something we must keep our eyes on here. It's definitely a potential play if we are to lose our local low and see VELO come back down in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so coming back down to this macro level of support, that's something we need to keep our eyes on. But right now, my eyes are on this low that we currently have, the support levels, and if it is the bottom at 0.01 and our local recent retest, we need to we need to form this higher low structure, build the foundational base, and then look for the breakout. I don't think pumping up 70, 80, 90% up to 0.02 in this wave is healthy. I think it would be healthy to run into this 20 EMA like we have done for the last few weeks, pull back for a high low, build the structure, and then go for the break. So that's my little bit of non-financial advice on VELO price action today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the content from Chart Nerd TA. Take care. Peace out.